Welcome to Board Game Archaeology, where we play time-worn games from the past. I'm Hunter,
I'm Rob.
and today we're playing Lost Cities.
Lost Cities, the original card game by Kosmos. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This game was originally created in 1999, and it's just a super simple game for two players only and for ages 10 and up.
Yeah, the goal of the game is to essentially get the most out of your expeditions.
Yep, and the game comes with 72 different cards and a play mat that you can flip over for the short game or flip on this side for the longer game. And all that means is it gives you one extra area. And those areas are
Those areas are the Egyptian desert, the Himalayan mountains, the bottom of the sea, a Central American rainforest, a mysterious volcano, and for the sixth area, you kind of have this alien or this kind of cosmic themed area for the long game instead of the short game.
Yep, and again, you just flip the mat and you get the short game with the five worlds, or you flip it with the six. And if you do the short game, you pull all the purple alien cards out of it, and you've got a short version.
Yeah, and to start off, like oldest goes first,
That's me.
and then, each player gets 8 cards, and essentially, you've got to use one card and then pick up a card. And so by using a card, you rather have to start an expedition. So like in this case, you would want to put in as early a card as possible. That usually, you want that to be like a 3, a 2, or a wager card, which is sort of this game's one, but it acts as a multiplier. We'll get to that in a second though.
Yep. So the cards come. You have cards 2 through 10, and then three wager cards. And again, like Hunter said, the wager cards are multipliers. So if you start an adventure, you instantly cost yourself 20 points. That wager card will multiply good or bad if you don't get 20 points by the end of this deck. Once this deck is depleted, the game is done, and then you count up your points. So you have the three wager cards, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the number one thing you have to do in order to get a positive score is to have a minimum of 20 points on the board. If you don't, and you often don't, and a lot of the times you're just hoping you get to draw correctly, where you're sitting there with a wager card and a 3 of one color, and you're going, okay, man, this is going to be the luck of the draw because we're playing a card game and it's luck, right? So, but yeah, so you have those cards and you have to play in that order, much like Racco, how you set it up in an order.
Yeah, because essentially, when you're going down, as you mentioned, if you invest in a column in one of these areas, that is 20 points right off the bat. You can only use a wager card in the very beginning. So to like, for example, start off, so down here. So to start off your row, you can't put a wager card after the fact.
Right. So your first card has to be a wager card, or you get rid of it and move on and just try to get that 20 points or above.
And just get like that 3, because if you can get 8 cards per thing, you get a bonus
You
20
get a
points,
bonus
and it
20.
kind of pays off for itself. But when you put down a card, you're always going to have 8 in your hand for the most part, because when you put down a card, you're rather picking up from the pile here, or you're picking from one of the discard piles. So if you do not want to place one of your cards or can't place one of your cards, you would put it down here. You just have to be aware that your enemy can use those cards for themselves. So putting a wager on here is especially dangerous because there's not already a started expedition, but a good reason to start an expedition.
Right. And that's really what it comes down to is watching what you have and what your opponent has and what cards you have. You know if they can play them or not. Or you know, like if I have a yellow, green past 5, thing past 4, because you can't put lower numbers over a number. So it has to be sequential. It has to be 2, 4, 8, 10. It can't be 2, 3, or 2, 4, 3, 5, right? So you can really, and that's the strategy of the game. The whole strategy of the game is knowing what cards your opponents need and praying or whatever, or hoping or alchemy or whatever, that you get the cards that you need. It's always nice when you get your 8 cards and you have something that gives you like 18 points right away. That you can just go, okay, I've got 18. I've got like a 10 and an 8. All I got to do is hold on for one more card and I'll be fine. but it's rare and it's amazing, even with all these cards, how you will keep going because your opponent can kind of figure out what's missing and hold on to them.
Yeah, and that is really it is pretty a simple game when you really boil it down. But when you are thinking about all of the cards in play, it definitely can get more like, ooh, I'm like halfway through this game and I have, four expeditions that don't have that much flesh on them. So it's like you're really just kind of looking to make sure that they cover themselves. So much of the time you're like, okay, at least Egypt has the 20, cost dealt with. Let's see if I can deal with the others before it's too late.
Right. And you'll
Especially when you got a wager on one of them.
right. And you'll hold those big cards at the end, hoping you get a couple middle ones until you start seeing this deck go down. And you can count the deck because they just say you can do it, but you can count how many more plays it's going to be. Now you can strategically make it last longer by pulling cards off of the middle, even if you don't need them, with hope that they'll drop something or that you're just holding on to with the hope of getting something on the last two cards there. But really do the math. And really, it comes down to it where we're counting cards almost every time, going, okay, we got 6 moves if everybody draws off of there, but we only got, I can kick that out to 8 or 9 if I start pulling off of here and dragging the game out a little bit longer.
Yeah, and it is careful to be, because you can include multiple wager cards
Up to
before you
3.
start adding in numbers. So, in this case, if you got two, then that does increase the multiplier to times 3
Yep.
instead of times 2.
Yep.
So that can be really good, but as you mentioned earlier in the video, if it's a negative number, that number is getting multiplied by 3.
Right. So if I didn't have 20 on this with 2 multipliers, I would take that as a minus. Luckily, I put an 8, 9, and 10 in here. I just made sure my side was loaded and Hunter's wasn't. So we had that looking at it. But you got to be really aware of what's out there. It's kind of a card counting game where you're really trying to figure it out. Back to the artwork. The art's fun. It's very science fiction-y, fantasy. There's one character that Hunter had mentioned is like the Nickelodeon giant guy
Mhm.
from the Castle
Oh,
Race Kid
temple of
Show.
something.
Yeah, right. But the graphics are good. I think the one thing that I can say, oh, the instructions are super simple too, incredibly simple. Um, I think you can tell by how I'm talking about it that I played this game more than any other game in the last like 6 weeks because it's easy and it was summer at work. So this is a good lunch game. They say the game takes 30 minutes. We can burn through this game in minutes. If both players know what they're doing, you're moving like, you know, just moving right along. It's a quick game.
Yeah. And yeah, it is. I do really appreciate the art because, they didn't necessarily have to make so much. It's a lot like King of Tokyo in that I was very impressed with that game, how many different cards they had, like how many different illustrations. I'm a sucker for illustrations in these games.
Right.
It was one of our kind of like takeaways from the last game because it didn't have enough graphics.
Right. It was kind of a bummer.
And so with this, it was like, especially since the first few times I played this game, I did not realize it was fantasy because I was too busy just trying to hold my own ground. But it's like when you really look at the cards, I think it's beautiful artwork, and a lot of them go together. Like we'll have kind of mirror scenarios, so it kind of looks like there's almost like a greater mural out of them, which is really cool. I really like that. And like it says like the bottom of the ocean in ancient Egypt, but they don't mention like Atlantis or like the dragon in this
Right.
volcano
Right.
somewhere. So it's like, they really kind of took their own turn with it. And I really like that about the cards.
They did. And that's part of the thing is when you play it a lot, you find that it's no longer an adventure. It's kind of a numbers game where you're just thinking numbers, 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 and the adventure and the artwork kind of fade off in the quickness of play. So when you first start playing it, I think you're much more into the artwork, looking at it. As you get going, you just start playing the game and getting through it and not enjoying it as much. Maybe we just got to slow down to enjoy it a little bit more.
Stop and sniff the roses, yeah.
But you do. The more I play, the more I realize that it's like Lost City or this card game. It's really a numbers game for me.
Yeah, and it is a very much a numbers game that can be really fun and can be really satisfying to play, and sometimes it can really bite you.
It is.
But it's kind of a good time regardless.
Right. And being able to walk into a room and teach somebody how to play a game in a matter of 5 minutes, it's an amazing game for two players. If you have a workmate that you have a 15-minute break on, you could burn through a quick round of it. And we've been playing best out of three. I think that's what the instructions say. So we always do kind of best out of three.
Yeah, because really the hardest thing to learn about it is the concept of, okay, it's like you start the expedition, you're minus 20. And it's like, oh wait, is it like minus 20 like per action? And it's like you clear that up right away, easy instructions to do so. And then it really is like something you can just jump right in with people and it goes by really quick.
Yep. And once you figure out the scoring, I think the scoring is probably the most, I guess, hardest part of it, which isn't really that hard if you just start with minus 20 and then plus, 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 and then multipliers. And they'll explain it well in the instructions. And believe me, there's a million YouTube shows that tell you how to play this game pretty quickly.
This beautiful grid right on the back that gives you a literal example of what an ending hand could look like.
Right.
So if
Super
you had any
easy.
questions, the rules have gotcha.
Yep. Easy game, good artwork, fun, and quick to learn.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about us, check us out at toyarchaeology.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.